You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hello, we're John and Diane Rasey. Um, we've been together now for 40 years. As of May of 2019, I suffered a neck fracture, a C4 to C6. That's when our journey down this road had begun. Um, Starting with going to Shepherd Center in Atlanta for some pretty intense therapy, occupational and physical therapy. Then, of course, COVID set in. So we had no therapy for a year or so. Diane became my therapist at home, along with an e-bike or a FES stem bike, which proved to be really important in my progression and maintaining some type of therapy. Then we're fortunate enough to be able to get some physical therapy at some local hospitals here in Raleigh and Anger. Then our journey began here in Campbell University here in Buies Creek. We're fortunate to get into here, and we've been here for a year and a couple months. And as anybody with my kind of injury knows, that therapy is pretty important. It, because it's something that you can build on what little ability you may have, or you can continue to improve on things that you may not have. So we're fortunate to be here, and we're glad we came in today to share our experience. And
Okay, well, what difference do you think physical therapy has made both physically and emotionally to you and to Diane?
um, emotionally, it's meant, I think, about everything. Only because you can get easily down on yourself for the life you've had and what your new life now is. And the therapy, you get to where you have goals, you have a reason to continue to improve, not only for your own benefit, but to help around the house, to be able to help your spouse or your caregiver and what your daily needs are. You know, a lot of work has to happen to make your daily life comfortable and successful.
Did you want to add anything to that, Diane?
For PT and OT and all of those things, when he came home, it was he and I, me feeding him like he couldn't do anything.
Is that how you did? Like you
It shaved you, fed you.
We ate a lot of cold meals.
We did.
Because it took a minute, huh?
Yeah,
took a minute.
she would have to take a bite, then it would be my turn, and
You couldn't walk. You really hardly had any arm function. Everything was with the Hoyer, which I hated.
transfer. That was scary,
Everything.
shaky thing.
Our first night home from back home was using the Hoyer, and that was really a hot mess. And I can't remember how it went, but it was scary. It was just not fun. But we have progressed so far because of physical therapy, because of people not giving up on us, because people pushed us, taught us, and Campbell PT students have been a huge part of that. Huge part of that.
So, would you recommend someone to pursue PT? I know sometimes you run into insurance companies that will only support it for so long, and then you have to start, making that decision whether a long-term physical therapy is what's best or whether you just give up and settle for what you got. How did that play in for you guys?
We're fortunate because he's a veteran, so fortunately we have, even though it's a struggle sometimes, they don't stop providing therapy. You have to jump through hoops, you have to push, you have to advocate, but that has been our saving grace. I think that because of that, all of our progress is because we've been able to continue. John mentioned we watched a movie. What was it? Any One of You, and that was the bulk of the people that they interviewed was everyone was told as we were, by your 2-year mark, you got what you got. That stressed me out a lot because I felt like, we're older and you just, COVID hit and, time was tick, 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 tick. We had the FES bike at home that really was instrumental. He couldn't even pedal it on his own. And then we got to the point he was able to go 8 miles on it. And
with a whole lot of shock.
was shock. And then that eventually weaned down. And we continued to have therapy. We had OT at Wake Med. We've had PT. I say if you can figure it out, if you can find ways to pay for it, it is instrumental in you moving forward. It never stops. Your spinal cord's always healing. Those nerves are always trying to heal. Not that you'll always walk, not that you'll always be 100% independent, but we are so much farther ahead because of being in PT.
And what do you wish everyone knew about physical therapy? Something maybe you didn't know before that you realize now that you wish everybody knew.
There's more to physical therapy than rehabbing somebody's arm or their knee or their hip. This whole spinal cord journey, which is our journey, it'd be different for others, but huge impact on people who love to deal with or enjoy the neuro aspect. One of the first real introductions to PT for us was when he was at Wake Med. They were phenomenal in getting him up and moving when he didn't even know what was really happening. And then we got to Shepherd Center in Atlanta, and those people love their job. They love their patients, and they were hugely instrumental in us being able to survive all of this, truly.
And the therapist will see potential that you don't. If you could wiggle a finger, in a week they got you moving your arm. If they see any kind of opportunity they can build and work on, they make the most of it. And then by their inspiration and their I guess the outlook that they have helps you. The motivation's there to not only not to let them down, but if they think you can do it, then it must be something to it, and that becomes your goal. And here we are today, no longer using the Hoyer, able to walk a little bit. I went from getting shocked on the bike to riding my own bike or trike. I say bike all the time, but it's three-wheeler up and down the road. So, if I can do it, I'd say most anybody else should be able to. But it wasn't alone. It wasn't like Diane and I just did it. And this, I'm a project. And we've had very, very, very good therapists along the way to help. It's been a team. And the last thing you want to do is let any of them down when they see that you're able to, to do it. They want to help you do it.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've been working with our Campbell DPT students, you said, for the last year or so. Any thoughts about that or things you would like other people to know about what's happening up here on the 3rd floor of Smith Hall?
It's been tremendous. For us, it's been inspiring to see that, the different classes. We're fortunate we end up in the middle of the first class. We're here, 3rd-year students, to watch and hear about them going out in the world now to share their skills and their training. I like to say I'm part of their growth a little bit.
Absolutely.
And now this year with the new class, same thing. You see the same kind of glimmer in her eye on, the hope that you have or they have for, spreading their knowledge and their experience they gained here in class. And for us, it's a good experience. I think it's a two-way experience. Mm-hmm. We're learning from them and they learn from us. Because in my situation, and Diane will be the first to tell you, no two injuries are the same. We can have the same exact neck fractures, but have totally different symptoms and experiences. And functions and abilities. So, but it's been a great program for us, and
I still keep in touch with our PA and some people back at Wake Med, and if they, I'll share and brag on his progress. And one of the girls had told us, she's a PA, that she cries every time she sees what I've sent her, because she said he would never function neck, maybe shoulders, and that was it. Like, he probably wouldn't come off the ventilator. He wouldn't, and I hate when they say this, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's true, but it's not what you want to hear. But I share about Campbell. I tell them if they have new patients, if they don't have the means, if they don't have the ability to go anywhere else, this is where they need to come, because I feel like we are getting probably every bit of huge progress from coming here versus even the hospital setting, because these kids are much more, they're not afraid yet, and they're not, the instructors are phenomenal. They let them really work with us, and it's not a numbers game yet. I mean, it's not. They really, really have helped him progress a lot, a lot.
So, what if you ran into somebody in the street who said, "Hey, I'm thinking about being a physical therapist"? Would you have any words of wisdom or encouragement for them?
Be ready for a long process of educating, but I think it's a phenomenal field. I came from the medical field. I didn't really know what PT was 30 years ago. Like, I really didn't. Knowing and seeing what we've done, that is something that I would maybe get into. We've got a granddaughter who's 14, and she talks about getting into PT. She really does, because of what she's seen. We've brought her here, so she's been, a little bit exposed. She saw him at Shepherd. She comes to help sometimes. So I think it's a phenomenal, phenomenal field. And if you want to change somebody's life, this is a great, great way to be doing it.
and we've learned, of course, over the last 4 years, that there's a lot of opportunity in physical therapy, from sports to neuro to
Orthopedic.
I mean,
Pediatric,
there's a wide range of opportunity in physical therapy. It's not just teaching somebody to walk or stretching their legs, or I mean, it's a field that I never realized was so wide open. And we have a nephew that's a physical therapist, and his idea was to get into sports. He wanted to be on the sidelines of a professional team. Now I think he's changed his ideas, and now he's a doctorate
Yeah, he's got his doctorate
of
in PT.
PT, which I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, that's what all these students, when they graduate in December, they'll be doctors of physical therapy.
Doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
something.
Yep, they will. Okay, well, any parting words you want to share?
No, just we're thankful. Thankful that we're now part of this program. It'll be tough to kick us out. Though we continue to recommend and suggest and encourage people to attend, which means you're going to be filled up at some point.
That's great. We'd love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for